everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, where this afternoon, folks, we got a lot of promising injury updates to cover, which is great news because we are less than 2 weeks away from opening day,
Let's
folks.
go.
March 27th, that is a Thursday, this is a Friday right now. We are less than 2 weeks away from actually watching some meaningful baseball. I couldn't be more excited. I know Adam's excited. And we are especially excited because on March 27th, we're hosting a big-time event at Amsterdam Brewhouse, downtown Toronto, Queens Quay West, folks. We're going to be there at like 12:30. The doors are going to open live, exclusive show there for the people that show up in person, and then a live play-by-play, and of course, lots of giveaways, lots of beverages. It is going to be electric, but more on that later. Promising injury updates, and then also some question marks surrounding one of our key veteran players who a lot of people are looking at right now under some serious scrutiny. We're going to get into that and more. Welcome in, everybody.
Welcome in, guys. I'm also your host, Adam Peddle. Also see a cool comment here from Kyle saying, woo, I never made one live, but always listen on Apple Podcasts. Wow,
yeah.
Shout out to you, Kyle. And guys, if you do want to listen, you go check out our Spotify and our Apple Podcasts. But Daniela, you got Big Hog Hockey, Jared Williams, and also big here already super chat from Taylin Pottle saying, let's go Blue Jays. Can't wait for this season. I can't wait either. We're at that point right now, let's be realistic, where we're kind of beyond the hype. Actually, we are beyond the hype of like it being baseball's back, spring training's here, and now we're all focused on the season because we're seeing what these guys could do and what the potential could be.
Well, let me ask you, okay?
Yeah.
Last season was a lot of doom and gloom. Obviously, we had to bring out the clown noses several times for live streams. That wasn't fun for anybody. Then you had the off season. They miss out on Soto, miss out on a couple other guys. It was looking like it was going to be extremely bleak right up until effectively beginning of January when we decided to wake up. But even still, a lot of negativity around the offseason as well and just everything. And now you have the Guerrero stuff, lots of negativity there.
Yeah.
Give me a temperature check on where you're at right now, just on this team as a whole, walking into opening day, because there's been so much talk about transactions and, contracts and firings and moves and everything like that, whatever. Now we're actually about to, start watching some baseball. These guys look pretty good on the field right now. Like, where are you at with this team? Just, zooming out a bit.
Yeah. Oh well, temperature check. I'm kind of warm right now. I'm feeling like what it's gonna be like this weekend. Like it's 14 degrees. Got a little bit of sun going. There might be a little bit of rain too. There's a chance of forecast 50% rain in Toronto. But that's where I'm kind of at right now because
You're hopeful.
I'm hopeful for something good to happen this season because if we black out all the noise of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Also got a video I'm talking about it, so we won't be blacking it out during that video. But if we just look at the season as a whole right now. Yeah, sure, he's up for a contract, but he still looks good. He's in a great shape, and, he's heading into his prime, and he should have a good season for the Blue Jays. Looking at Bo Bichette, he looks like he's back in form, right? And then you look at some other exciting young guys like Alan Roden, coming up and doing great things. Kirk is looking like he's on time. Then we've got players like Max freaking Scherzer in the pitching rotation, right? Like, that's going to be super exciting to see. So for me, I'm feeling warm and optimistic. There isn't a whole lot to really point to and be negative about this spring training, other than the George Springer thing that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But right now I'm feeling fairly optimistic. Now let me throw that back on you. Where are you kind of at?
No, I like that, man. It feels like a lukewarm kind of feeling right now. Maybe we're setting ourselves up for just pure misery, right? Because that's what kills you. It's the hope that gets you, and then you go into the season, you got this hope, and then it's like, oh shit, like 10 games in, and it's already over, right?
Right.
Hopefully, crossing our fingers that that's not the case. But there are reasons to be optimistic. Now, obviously, not necessarily as optimistic as if you were a fan of the Boston Red Sox or a fan of the Dodgers or something like that. But still, I look at this squad and I say to myself, they have a chance. There is upside here. I have at least a reason to sit down and turn on the baseball game. Whereas last August, last September, that was pain, right? And all you guys understand, that was pain when you had to sit down and watch a baseball game. It just wasn't good for anybody. So I am certainly feeling better now than I was back then.
Yeah, and you don't need me to remind you guys, but I'm going to remind you guys, last year was the floor. Like, literally the floor. You lost your star player in Bo Bichette basically all season. When he was on the field, he wasn't him at all. You know, and then everything, we traded everybody away. We had some injuries in the bullpen, one of the worst bullpens. Like, that was the floor. And everybody, like, if you're still kind of hanging on to that and, like, comparing that Toronto Blue Jays team to this one, you know, I think you got to rethink your thinking right there, because this is a new Blue Jays team. It's a new year. You want to get a healthy Bo Bichette back. There's some young and exciting guys coming up. And we got a new, basically a new bullpen if you look at it, and a decently good rotation still. So I'm excited. That's why I'm lukewarm,
I was
right?
just thinking how funny it's gonna be
to clip that?
when in September, you know, like, and we're trying to get to 69 wins, and gotta clip that one right there. But let's transition everybody and talk about George Springer. We're gonna get to some of the promising injury updates a little bit later in this one, but we wanted to give a shout out here to Jen Smith, who does regularly tune into this channel, occasionally comments in the chat and everything like that. And if you did not already, go follow her on Twitter. She posts out some great stuff right there. But she was just highlighting some of the spring training numbers right now, and as you can see, there's a lot of starters, right? Bo Bichette, Clement, Guerrero. There's a lot of guys right now who are all doing very well. One of the starters that isn't is George Springer, and she does say, you know, look, it's spring training numbers. It doesn't mean a whole lot. Like, let's face it, if Guerrero came out and was batting 158 in spring training, I wouldn't blink. I wouldn't think anything of it, right? But I think it's because it's George Springer, because now we're, you know, still aging, getting up there, because now we're coming off of the worst season in his career, and then prior to that, it was like the second worst season of his career. We've had multiple years of decline, and now in spring training, nothing looks different, nothing looks better. It just feels like he's being put under a microscope right now, but I do think that there is good reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, like you kind of alluded to, there's all this backing up of proof that this isn't just spring training, right? Maybe it is. I mean, obviously, do you think this guy is going to hit what? What is he hitting right now? $1.36.
Well, I fucking well hope not.
The whole season, right?
Yeah.
If he's not, then that gets to our second conversation point. Then he should be on the effing bench at this point. But you know, looking at what he's done in the past, last year, you know, he hit 220. You know, that's a major step off. If he's going to stay there or get any worse, guys, forget that he's getting paid $25 million. Forget that he used to be a all-star, ALCS MVP. Forget that. This guy is a liability if he's starting every single day, right? And I think to start the year, he is going to get the reps. Of course, they're not going to start him on the bench to begin the year. But seriously, if come, end of April, and he's not performing, I think you have a serious argument here to bring up Alan Roden or to bring somebody else into a starting role that is doing well, even, a Varsho or a Schneider if they're doing good. I said this before, I'll say it again. This season, we don't have time for people to bounce back. We don't have time because you're a veteran or an all-star or whatever your pedigree is. We don't have time for that. We have one season with Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Every game that goes by, we're losing opportunities if you're starting every single day. So for me, my kind of deadline to hey, you got to prove it by here or else you got to be put on the benches. Probably end of April for me. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's no time to screw around.
Yeah.
And especially because you're coming off the year that you came off of last year, you are going to be under the microscope a lot closer than somebody like, a Guerrero or anything like that. Obviously, your leash is going to be shorter than those other guys. I'm looking at his advanced metrics right now, just seeing what went wrong for him last year and in the seasons prior leading up to that. And there's a lot of things. Obviously, there's a lot. I mean, he was hitting the ball less hard. He was getting a lot of weak contact, all that shit. But it just feels like the fastball is just getting that much more difficult for him to handle. Last season, he had a batting average of 241 against the heater and a slugging, and I think this is the most important thing for me, a slugging of 387, whereas in seasons prior, that was well above 500, and that's what he did his damage on. You throw him the fastball, you miss a little bit. George Springer, first pitch of the game is sending you, over the fence right there, and that was
dingers.
Just exactly, that just
dingers.
Wasn't happening at all for him last year. And when Springer doesn't have the power, you see that. Well, I mean, overall, the value just isn't there. So we got to see him come back and be able to catch that thing a little bit better and be able to hit that thing that much harder.
What's his sorry, just go back there for a second. What's his expected or his run value on the fastball?
Actually, it was slightly positive.
Interesting.
It was a run value of 4.
Okay.
So take that as you will. I actually find that rather shocking.
That is kind of shocking.
That is the 4-seam fastball specifically. The sinker, he's not good. Okay, so I was looking at that a little bit wrong. So when you actually put it all together there, it's about even.
Anything with movement looks like it hurts him, except for a changeup. Okay, so all right, so unless it's a slow meatball down the middle or a rope of a fastball, dude can't hit it.
Pretty much.
And again, I've seen in spring training he's made an adjustment. You know, he's brought his hands down a little closer to try to get to the fastball a bit quicker and get on pitches a bit quicker. But there's no adjustment for the fact that your body's aging. There is no adjustment. There's no. I mean, you could do therapy. You could do physiotherapy is what I'm referring to. But like, there's no adjustment to the fact that your hips can't move as fast as they used to. So again, for me, George Springer, very short leash, and I see a lot of people in the comments too kind of agreeing, like, bench this guy. I think we were kind of at that point last year, but there was
still too much money in the contract.
Yeah.
There was no real other options at that time.
Exactly.
And I think that now in spring training, right, you are looking at a guy, I think you put him on the thumbnail, but somebody like an Alan Roden, right? Who, we want to give opportunities to. This is just somebody who looks extremely exciting, very promising. Like, the kid's electric when he's out there, and he deserves to be with how he's performing right now. And this is nothing new for the guy either, because back in last year, the minor leagues, he was skyrocketing through the system and, just surpassing expectations at each and every level. Being 25 years old right now, there's no more time for the minors. We're done now. We're done with all of that. At 25 years old, it's either you got it or you don't have it at that point, right? And I do think that Alan Roden is somebody that has it, so he deserves his opportunities. And if Springer just isn't going to be doing it, I hate to say it, but I think the Toronto Blue Jays are just going to need to take the financial L there and just kind of come to terms with the fact that this is going to become a much more expensive Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, would you rather honor a guy's $25 million contract this season, the 25 or 24, whatever the hell it is, or would you rather risk spending a payroll of $248 or $50 million and losing a season because you honor that small fraction, that 1/10 of that payroll? I'd rather just go win and not risk the whole entire season. For me, it's that simple.
I do think, honestly, I'd be pretty shocked if they're not on that same page as well. Listen, I know that they're kind of slow to these things, and it does feel like, they like to take their time. I remember last year, everyone was, screaming about Spencer Horwitz getting called up, and, we've had a lot of stuff, but David Schneider's got to be in the lineup back when he's playing good. It does feel like the Toronto Blue Jays are just genuinely slower when it comes to making these decisions.
Right.
But I do think that they are going to get there sooner rather than later on this one. I think that they're also I just don't think that there's any reason not to.
You're already starting to see George's name fall down the lineup in spring training. And honestly, every spring training that I've seen John Schneider roll out lineups, he's pretty accurate when it comes to the actual season of how he's rolling out guys. So he was batting 4th behind Santander. Now he's been dropped to 5th once Daulton Varsho's been thrown in there. We'll talk about him a bit later, but hell, if Kirk's doing well, and they want Jimenez
doing well, I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there too.
Right, because they want Jimenez in front of Kirk. All right, so if they're a package deal, well then, what does that put him? Down to 7?
7, yeah.
Perfect.
7, 8 down
7,
there.
8. Honestly, 7, 8 down there, and if you still can't do it,
well,
that's Alan Roden.
Alan Roden can get his opportunity then, and that'll be him.
He could safely enter the lineup in 7 with no pressure on him. That's easy for me. Now, there's some other guys too I want to highlight. That are also doing well. Kirk was actually one of those guys. But he started to struggle to begin the spring training, but our boy Addison Barsher, he's actually starting to turn it on just a little bit right here. As you can see, he's had 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 8 hits, a double. His OPS on the spring's up to 1.149. That usually happens when you have a couple extra base hits, including a home run or 2. That jumps up there. But he's starting to do well. And Keegan Matheson, big shout out to him. He said in a recent article that, actually, maybe it wasn't Keegan. Sorry, Keegan. I think it was Ben Nicholson-Smith. Apologies. But, he in a recent article had a prediction for the opening day roster, and he put Addison Barsher in there because of just, the utility aspect, versatility, the familiarity with the big league level, and, to kind of keep down some other guys like Alan Roden and some of the prospects. But that's a guy who could bring camping in the
I mean,
day.
I get it. Like, I know that you've made the argument before as to, well, if somebody like Addison Barzher needs regular playing time and everything like that. And I hear where you're coming from, but I also think that, you know, there's something to be said for having a strong utility guy with upside. You know, at a time, that was Kevin Biggio's job for a while, and then, you know, obviously moved on from him. Totally forgot he was a baseball player, by the way. I just saw his name the other day, and I was like, oh, fuck, that guy still plays baseball. He's exciting.
He's with Kansas City, isn't he?
I think so. Somebody in the chat let us, like, don't really know what he's doing now, but just had a memory that, wow, we used to watch that guy, and he was like part of the core for a while.
He was the trio, you know, of the young guys, and then we just like he slowly slipped out. Now we just got the duo.
Now we just got the duo.
Next year we got nobody.
Maybe we're not gonna have anybody. We'll see how it happens at that point. But I mean, look, I think that Addison Barzher certainly deserves his opportunities up here. I know that people have some issues with his approach at the dish, and I do think that, generally speaking, his swing is fucking violent and probably needs to be calmed down a bit. But I love the effort. I love the fact that, like, he's such a team player that doesn't, like, he doesn't care where you put him. He doesn't care where he's in the lineup. It's like, just get me on the field, coach. I will give 110% effort every single time. I like where Ben Nicholson-Smith is coming from there.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you know, the only reason why I said give him everyday playing time was so that the one day he could maybe develop to an everyday player. But if you're okay right now, kind of putting that down the line and letting him develop this other way, sure. I mean, whatever works.
Exactly, right? And let's face it, too. I mean, there's something to be said for having someone who is a very valuable utility player.
And if that's what he is, then that's what he is. And plus, also, I realize this. We need a second third baseman.
Right.
Like, sure, Vladdy can play third, but, like, let's be realistic. Like, Vladdy probably needs to stay over at first. Like, go play a bit of third. Play a little bit of corner outfield.
Weren't there arguments, like were they thinking about adding a utility guy to the All-Star game? Am I talking about my ass with that?
I don't know,
I feel like I had that conversation with somebody rather recently.
Barzher. I know they added a Silver Slugger and Gold Glover, I'm pretty sure, for utility.
I don't know. I might be talking about my ass with that one, but I remember talking to somebody about that and just being like, kind of similarly to, you know, how they have in basketball, like your sixth man. It's like there's something to be said for a guy who it's like,
utility.
You know, jumps in at second base, then he's playing outfield, then he's DHing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a
like,
role, man.
It's a total fucking role, right? And we don't really have anybody that's like totally locked in right now. Addison Barzher has the upside. I think he deserves to be up here, and you might find that he does get everyday playing time just doing that.
Right.
You know?
Exactly, right? Well, another guy too, speaking of utility guys, because right now we have like a split job for the utility role right now, because the other guy is David Schneider, who came out of camp at the beginning struggling, but has picked it up recently. He's batting .368 with an OPS of 124 and hit a home run, and he's got 3 doubles. So he's been like lighting it up recently. And again, to Ben Nicholson-Smith article, he also had David Schneider in there as the, you know, Barzher's the left-handed utility guy. David Schneider is the right-handed utility guy. So you can kind of play a little bit of matchups there. Again, like, I'm totally cool if these guys are coming out the gate hot. You start the year with these dudes, and then later down the line, we look for alternative options. You know, I'm cool with that. Like, as long as they're performing well, I really don't have a problem.
I also see a couple people in the chat asking about Will Wagner, talking about that. And I mean, Will Wagner should be up there regardless. And more times than not, you're gonna see his name in the lineup some way, somehow. You know, whether that be at third base, whether that just be in the DH role. I think a large part of how all this happens as well is like, how is Ernie Clement doing at third base, right? Like, is he still popping off over there? If not,
popping off.
then, you know what I mean? Like, he is right now,
right? Now popping off.
But, like, if not, okay, that opens the door just a little bit more for more Will Wagner time over there, maybe for some more Guerrero time over there, which then opens the door for... There's so many different moving pieces here and everything like that.
We have so many utility guys, it's insane.
There's a lot of guys who want to play a specific role, but can't, and we're waiting to see where things go.
The only guys that are locked in are, like, Bo at short, Jimenez second, Vladdy at first, and even that's starting to move around a little bit, and then, like, Daulton Varsho in center field. I'd say everybody else moves around. Like, you could say George and right, but even now, I'd say Buddy might be a DH. Buddy might be on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of left.
And then, obviously, the catchers, too.
And the catchers, of course.
Yeah, that is where we're at right now with those boys. You want to transition and talk a little bit about some injury updates?
Yeah, right before we do, guys, we got to give another shout-out, everybody, to Amsterdam Brewhouse, ladies and gentlemen. We are just, as you know, 13 days away from opening day. Like we said it off the top, we're going to be there March 27th. The beer! See, it's strong. It's a strong beer, 710 milliliters. We're going to be there on March 27th. If you want to book your table, book it for 12:30, everybody. Literally right here in the description, I've got the open table, and if you're watching on a video platform live right now, you can see it literally right here. Reservation, Amsterdam Brewhouse Restaurant. Book it for as many people as you want, March 27th, and you want to book it for 12:30, everybody. That's when the doors are open, because at 1 o'clock or 1:30, we're going to be doing a live show in person, not on the stream, in person for you guys with some guests. So you guys want to go do that for sure.
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below or in the chat right now if you have plans on coming. I know that probably 90% of you guys have work during that time. What I say to that? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, dude, it's opening day. Like, don't you want to have some day beers on opening day, right? And, like, Amsterdam's literally right next to the Rogers Center, 5 minutes from the Rogers Center. If you don't even have tickets to go to the game, come over to Amsterdam Brewhouse. Or if you do have tickets, then you can just, like, come pre and then go to the game or whatever.
Yep.
And, guys, their beer is amazing. Damn good beer. Locally crafted in Toronto. Proudly Canadian. Okay, you can go check out all their beers online at Brewmasters at Amsterdam with their always rotating adventure brews. Amsterdam Brewhouse. 245 Queens Quay West, everybody. We'll see you there.
And yes, people under 19 can go. Obviously, can't drink, but they have some great food there too, actually. Yeah. We were there filming some content the other day. The food smelled amazing.
Oh my God, I wanted it.
Looked amazing.
Wanted it.
So yeah, highly recommend.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about those injury updates, guys, because there was a lot of them. First thing, you may have forgotten about this guy. I never forget about this guy because I love a good comeback story. It's Alek Manoah, and he threw a bullpen session for the first time since Tommy John back in June of 2024. Here he is, everybody. I'll kind of play this in the background for y'all. Now, one thing I really want to note, I don't know if y'all can see it right here, is right here he's got a little line, and it looks like he's kind of focusing on his landing foot, kind of keeping a straight downhill plane. And that's good. You know, he's working on that because a big part of his problems when he was struggling was his command was all over the place. And part of that could have been, hey, your landing foot has not been consistent. You weren't going downhill straight on a line. So maybe we got to work on that. So maybe he already recognizes what he needs to do to bounce back and become better. But regardless of how he does it, it would be great to see Alek Manoah back in a Blue Jay uniform come. I think people are kind of saying end of July, early August is when he might be back. Kind of like a Hyunjin Ryu thing that we saw a couple years ago. He'd be a big part of the rotation, man.
We've said it before, and I will say it again. Anything that you want to do, it's all welcome, Alec. Yeah. Like, seriously, I expect nothing. The one thing that I hope for is that, like, we're not in some deep playoff race and then he comes in and just absolutely, like, it's terrible.
Repeat of Mariners 2022.
Yeah.
Oh,
we don't need that.
Right.
But no, look, anything that you want to provide, it is more than welcome. I assume that by the time Alek Manoah is ready to actually come and pitch in MLB, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of the guys in that rotation starting to feel like their arms ready to fall off.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys in the bullpen starting to feel the same way. Maybe an injury here or there that, like somebody's got to fill in for. Getting recruitments back in the middle of the season is important, and it will help you just kind of weather that storm just that much more. So great to see that he is back throwing it again. Great to see that he's got some regimen to it and that he's focusing on some certain things. I have, like you said, you never forget about him. I am purposely forgetting all about him. Work on your shit. I'm not looking. I don't care. And then when you come back, it'll be that nice surprise for me in July or whenever you want to come.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we gone to trade deadline and we said, nah, we don't need any pitching. We're good. How many times?
I don't think ever. Actually.
No, I don't. Because my point is, I don't think any team ever has been in that situation where they get to the trade deadline and they're competitive, where they're like, maybe we don't need to add a couple more arms.
Right.
Whether it be in the bullpen or starting rotation. So he's just like a surprise ad around the deadline. So that's going to be awesome. We're rooting for you, King Manoah, King of the North. Let's get you back. Another pitching injury update is from Eric Swanson. Now, we literally on the last Blue Jays Today show, we're talking about how, oh God, oh no, Buddy's going to go see a second opinion. And it was Thursday, right? This upcoming Thursday, which was yesterday. We were thinking, oh my God, like that guy apparently was like the doctor of Tommy John. And it's and it was like, oh God, no, please.
First name Tommy,
last name John, right? But no, apparently he's all good, right? Like Erik Swanson, what he apparently has is a median nerve entrapment. I'd be lying to you if I said I knew what that was before I read that. But apparently there's no structural damage, right? He just had a cornerstone shot, and he'll be back throwing in the next couple days. So that's actually good. The fact that he's back throwing a couple days after he gets this diagnosis, like, that's really good. And we need it, man.
Yeah, of course. You guys don't need us to flash over to the bullpen again to show you how questionable it can be. I mean, it's already fucking questionable when everyone's healthy, but it gets very questionable when you're missing one of your back end guys here like Erik Swanson. I still want them to, and we posted a podcast talking about this the other day, talking about some names. David Robertson was the big one, and a lot of people were commenting saying, yes, like, get this guy. I am still on that train, regardless of whether or not everyone's healthy. Like, bringing in somebody who, valuable that could go in the back end like that, I think is great. Don't be shocked either if you see another kind of like Dylan Tate move happen in the next few weeks, or, leading up to opening day. Wouldn't be shocked at all. And I still actually wouldn't be surprised if somebody like, maybe not an Addison Barsher, especially if it's starting to play better and it's looking like they're thinking about him making opening day roster, but somebody like that, I still wouldn't be surprised at all if they got shipped off for a bullpen arm, because I hope anyways that after seeing Swanson go down, Ross Atkins was like, oh shit. Like, this is not good, even though he's now fully healthy, or going to hopefully be healthy.
Like, literally one injury away, and our bullpen looks a lot worse.
It's terrible, man.
I mean, we have no depth, so we definitely need to address that. When we've been breaking down teams a bunch on Bad for Baseball, and you look at the teams who actually have good bullpens, like, okay, they lose a couple of them, like if they lose a couple or three, it's like, okay, now they're like almost like our bullpen. We need to just kind of jump up a little bit. So I still hope we sign somebody. We'll see. And when is he going to be back? Like, you still got to ramp up again because he got shut down. So he's got to ramp up again. So this is honestly very similar to kind of what happened to him last offseason, other than, of course, his situation with his son. But like last offseason, he got to ramp up again. So you're still going to miss him for maybe a week or two, 3 weeks. Like, so you're still missing that back end guy. It's not like, okay, he's good for opening day. Maybe I'm talking about my ass. Maybe he will be. But you still got to go get somebody to replace him. So we'll hopefully everything will be okay after that.
Dude, out of pure curiosity, I just wanted to take a look and see how Jordan Romano's doing right now. Nice 0 ERA in 5 innings for him, and over there with the Philadelphia Phillies.
We failed.
Well,
what's Hoffman doing?
I mean, he's doing great. Basically, they're both doing the exact same thing right now. But again, I thought that was so stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was really dumb. Not like, why couldn't you have just had both of them? I mean, again, like, that's me being, just like, get everyone, pay for it. It's not my money. But I still thought that was dumb, letting him go and then, getting another guy. Anyways, he's doing really good right now. I was just curious.
Hoffman has a 4.91 ERA in 4 games.
Sell the team.
Wow,
sell the team. We lost. We busted hard right there. Obviously, none of this matters, everybody. I love how I say that when it's bad, and then when it's good, I
know.
Oh, look at Ernie Clement.
Yeah, I know.
But then when it's bad, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Don't look at it.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
It's different for, I would say, bullpen guys too, especially. Like, you're just
one earned run and it looks bad now.
Yeah, literally. Like, dude, Hoffman last year, right at the end, gave up, I think, like 5 earned runs in the span of like 2 starts, and his ERA before that was like a low 1, and then it jumped up to like a low 2. So, like, just like that, right at the end of the year, you've already pitched 70-plus innings, boom, there goes a whole ERA point.
Wow, that sucks for him, because that was probably, like, those 5 earned... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, like, that was like a, $5 million worth of, 5 runs or whatever it was for Jeff Hoffman there. So,
we'll take it, you know what I mean? We'll take your deal. But that's the latest on the whole, I guess, Erik Swanson thing. One more thing that we got to talk about. Another pitcher. Here we go. Max Scherzer. We heard that the thumb was a little bit dinged up, a little bit of nerve damage or something like that. People were kind of concerned. I felt pretty calm about it, but Keegan came in with an update to make us all settle down, and we're all good. Max Scherzer just finished throwing here at Dunedin, or Blue Jays complex in Dunedin. Looked like he was letting it rip, he said, and it all went well, but we'll get another update over the next day or two. So apparently from Keegan, it all looks good. We'll get an update on him. Hopefully he can be ready and ramp back up. He hasn't been too long off the bump. He obviously starts every 5th day. He missed his last start, so hopefully he gets back up and up to speed again. Because, I love Max Scherzer.
Yeah, listen, man, I was not concerned at all. I mean, like, if you watch the spring training starts, you know that this guy is ready to go. And, nerve pinching or not, like, he's going to be there because he's just a fucking dog.
Look at this guy. 14 strikeouts in 9 innings. Like, I don't care who he's facing. That's gross.
Yeah, exactly, right? And listen, I know it's spring training, but there's also several other guys up here with, 8, 9 innings to their names, and they do not have that level of swing and miss right now that Scherzer does with a 0.33 whip. So, they could, Jose Barrios, for instance, he could be doing the exact same thing, but right now he's not. And it just goes to show that Max Scherzer is fully locked in right now. Hopefully that 1-year signing is just going to pay dividends for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Again. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I think it has one of those upsides as being one of the better signings of the offseason.
Yeah, like I said, if he starts 15 games, I'm pretty happy because then, here comes Alek Manoah, I guess. Come fill in for the rest of the season for Max Scherzer, if it all went accordingly. But, if you get 20, 25 of, like, vintage Max Scherzer, huge W.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to say, like, vintage, but I still think it's going to be quality.
Give me 3.5. Dude, give me what you did last year in the 9 games, which is like a 3.5, high 3.
Yeah, that's what you're paying for.
That's what exactly, right? So, yeah, I'm glad that he's back, but we'll have to see and monitor that situation as time goes on, and hopefully we get... Dude, I can't wait for the first live play-by-play watching Max Scherzer.
We're obviously going to be live for the first Max Scherzer game. Like
100%.
For sure, history. First Max Scherzer game got to be live for... I mean, literally, like that's going to be fucking historic. We're going to have to bring out the Amsterdam Brews for it, too, I think.
Yeah. Oh, of course, absolutely. Also, I forgot to bring up this thing, but also... Everybody, keep in mind, the first Friday, which is the second game after opening day, that game is going to be an Apple TV game.
Wow.
Yep.
Those bastards.
Yep. First. Yeah, everybody I know. I saw it on Twitter.
Wow.
For those who don't have Apple TV, you might want to consider getting it or go watch Blue Jays Today live because we're going to have to go live for the Apple TV game because I can't believe it's the second game. You ruined opening day weekend for a lot of people. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
That's actually insane, dude. Yeah. I'm shocked that they let that one slide.
I know.
Because Sportsnet owns the rights for it, so they.
Yeah, because I don't know. How
does that all work? Like, do they get paid out for that?
Like, I don't know exactly how it works, but obviously MLB had some sort of like trump card,
right,
to be like. Everybody who had the TV rights, we can now take away like 3 or 4 games a year from you, and we just gotta tell you that. So,
damn, dude, that's insane. The first Friday game
against the Orioles. Yep. So second game of the year, everybody's gonna be on Apple TV.
Well, listen, we're obviously gonna be live for it here, everybody. So if you want to see our live reaction to it, and probably sucking back a couple Amsterdams in the process, we shall see you there. Let's give another shout out to another one of the sponsors on this channel, everybody. Shout out to Tim Hortons. If you haven't already gone and rolled up the rim, it is now time, everybody. It is time. I believe it's March 23rd. Which is the deadline.
March 23rd is the deadline, everybody. Go roll up the rim now. You'll literally only got 9 days left to go do it. So make sure you go to your local Tim store where you can win tons of cash prizes up to $1 million and stuff of all the total cash prizes. And as well, or you could just win like a donut or a coffee. So go roll up the rim, download the app, swipe up, see the app for details, everybody. Only in Canada, everybody, and no purchase necessary. So roll up that rim. We always drink coffee here. We always do.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Actually, I don't have one right now. I gotta go.
Bro, I actually don't think it's very rarely I have a podcast where like I don't even have a coffee. You know what I mean? Like
it's either coffee or beer.
A beer.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Wow, we're sponsored by both of them.
The things that we have.
Go figure, folks. Go figure. Let's transition. Talk a little bit about Daulton Varsho right now. He was there was worries that he may not even be ready for opening day. I think the guy's fucking
he's
ready,
so ready,
folks.
man.
I think the guy is ready to go. You are going to see this dude on the opening day lineup. I'd be very surprised if you don't with the way that he's performing right now. 4 home runs so far this spring. He's played in less games than a lot of people, too, and he's just absolutely destroying it. This is another one of those times where when it's good things that are happening, I'm going to say that changes have been made.
Yeah. He's chopped. Well,
because I just want to fucking believe it, dude.
Well, it's funny. He's doing the same thing he did last year, which was I chop at the ball and I chop wood, but it's funny. Last spring, he was also popping the hell off.
Right.
And then the regular season came. So
let's not think about that.
Right, let's not think about that. Let's think about how great he's going to be. But regardless, like, clearly, Daulton Varsho can swing the bat, and clearly, he can go and play over a lot of guys in this lineup. I mean, what's the replacement for Daulton Varsho? Loperfido? Like, maybe you can argue to, Davis Schneider or something like that. But in center field, who's going to be out there in center field? Like Joey Loperfido. I'm going to be honest. I think Daulton Varsho is a heck of a lot better right now, starting off the year, than Joey Loperfido if he's going to start DHing, right? So, I mean, I've been putting his bat in the lineup as much as possible. Also, considering this too, if he goes in the lineup, probably going to be a DH to start the year. So I'm actually, maybe my whole Loperfido comment is kind of null, because if he starts out the year DHing, that does replace Will Wagner, who, I mean, is a little bit struggling right now. But regardless, he's one of the hottest hitters right now. You got to put him in the lineup opening day.
Yeah, 100%, man. Look, kind of similar to what I was saying about Alek Manoah. Anything and everything you want to do with the baseball bat, I will take it, because I expect less than nothing from you, Daulton Varsho.
Yeah.
Like, my expectations are gone out the window, folks. Long gone are the days where I thought that coming into Rogers Center, you were going to be shooting for 30 bombs every year, poking it over the left field fence. If you wanna,
yeah,
great.
If you wanna, great.
But like now, just play your defense, do all that, and then if you do end up having a surprising offensive season, okay,
great.
I am all the way here for it, man. I'll be the first person in your camp saying that I am a Daulton Varsho stan if you do that.
Hell yeah. And look, the last thing I want for him to as well is to get his bat cold and go to the minors and face minor league pitching. Go and play big league pitching and keep your bat warm, and then eventually go and play some outfield. I mean, he's almost there too. He was throwing from 105 feet. This was yesterday. So his shoulder looks good. He's throwing 105 feet, but obviously it's complicated how shoulder rehabs can be. So, but right now he's in a very fine spot. So give it to me. I want Daulton Varsho in the lineup, batting fourth. Because you got to bump down George Springer, let's be honest. Get him batting fourth.
Yo, I'm taking a look at his contract right now. We got him. So Blue Jays have him for this year.
Yeah.
They also have him under contract for next year as well, under arbitration 4. So I guess he got kind of screwed over with the service time.
He came up pretty early, probably.
Yeah, something like that. Do you think that this is somebody? I mean, there's so many variables, so it's tough to say. But you think that that Ross Atkins going to shell out a contract for this guy when it's all said and done?
Remember, he said. He's like, I want to have extensions in place. He mentioned Bo and him. Maybe he's just talking out of his butt.
He said a lot of things.
I know. He said a lot.
He said a lot of things.
Yes. But I mean, my support for my meter of Ross Atkins goes up and down. Lately, it's been going a little bit up because I'm like, you know what, you did your best, buddy. But regardless, this is the guy that they'd want to extend. I mean, how much would he be worth?
Tough to five-war player. So many variables involved. Tough to say.
Here's the effed up thing about it, everybody. Vladdy last year was a 6-WAR player. How old's Daulton Varsho?
Daulton Varsho is 28 right now.
Okay, so Vladdy was a 6-WAR player, and if he's a 6-WAR player again, he wants to get $40+ million a year. Varsho, if he even has a good offensive season, let's say the next 2 seasons he's decently offensively, and he has 6-WAR back-to-back years. If WAR is how we're you put pointing value to players. Is he a $40 million effing player? No. So,
no.
But still, what, 20?
Maybe, maybe 20 million. If Daulton Varsho has 2 good offensive seasons, he will be happy, I think, to sign for $20 million.
He's getting paid 8.2 right now. If he does exactly what he did next year, probably getting paid 13, 14. I guess the next progression would be 18, 19, 20. For
Yes.
One of these guys.
Again, I do believe that he needs to have a bit more offense from him, because I just find it hard to believe, even with the defense, like somebody's. Because think about like stuff that Kevin Kiermaier got paid. You know what I mean? I know they're older and everything like that.
Yeah.
But if he is just defense, I don't see him getting 20. You gotta have some offense to it.
He needs to hit like 30 home runs.
Well, if you hit 30 home runs, absolutely.
He needs to hit 30 home runs.
1,000%. Like, he will get something like that. In which case, actually, he might outprice himself for the Toronto Blue Jays. But we shall see. This conversation means less than nothing right now, because we are still 2 whole calendar years away from when this would even come into effect, everybody. So,
right.
Have a good year this year, and then we'll talk Daulton Varsho.
We'll see you on opening day, Daulton. Let's give another shout out, everybody. You know what it is, to the OG sponsor here on Blue Jays Today.
Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only, must be 19 years older to participate, and guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal, folks. We got the lines for today's game.
Today's game. All they had was the money line.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to predict with spring training.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
Blue Jays on the road, everybody.
It's going to be Yariel. That's all you need to know. On the road with Yariel, probably going to be like a B plus lineup, because now we're getting closer to spring or opening day, excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, it's spring training. You never know what the hell can happen. But, I personally would not be taking it. I'm saving up.
Right.
For I'm putting down all my futures right now, and like we've been kind of flashing up all the futures, and then I'm gonna be saving up for opening day, because you already know opening day at Amsterdam too. I know saying Amsterdam ad, but I'm gonna be having a couple bets I'm riding with on opening day.
Yeah, of course, man. I'd be really interested. Somebody's got to do the math, figure out, is it profitable to bet on all of the underdogs?
That's what I was
spring
thinking.
Training. And I don't know.
Hey.
Like some smart person's got to come up with some algorithm and figure it out, because I do just think like things are a lot closer, especially in spring training, than in regular season.
Anything could happen.
Quite literally, anything could happen. So if you get like a line like this, I mean, I know it's Yariel, I know it's B-listers, I know whatever, but I don't know.
I hear you. Well, listen, like the underdog right now is the Grapefruit League leaders.
This
you know
is
what
true.
I'm saying? Like we're about to win the Golden Grapefruit. Shout out Keegan for that whole thing. The Golden Grapefruit is right in sight. You think the Blue Jays are going to be taking an L here?
Yeah.
For the Golden Grapefruit?
Yeah, man.
I don't think so. You know what? You just convinced me.
We got something to fucking play for.
That's right.
And we got something to play for. All right. This isn't, this is just not some regular like practice game. Houston Astros, they don't care. We care. This might be the only thing that we win this year.
That's right. That's right. The Golden Grapefruit, guys. Blue Jays are going to be winning. You also saw a crazy stat. Obviously, this may have changed by now, or maybe not, because we did win the other day. But in the last 162 spring training games, the Blue Jays have 91 wins.
162 spring training games. We are a 91 win ball.
Yeah, 91 and whatever. So we'd be a playoff team.
We'd be a playoff squad. Yeah. We'd be in the mix.
Yeah, I think we're like a top 3 or whatever it is in the entire league.
Okay, yeah.
So like, what's up? You know?
What's up, man? What's up? Why can't we start the season like a month earlier? Get all those wins in early.
I know, right, bro. Okay, I'm digressing right now, but I just thought, like, imagine if we get off to the start that we had in 2023, where we're like 18 and 9.
That changes everything, man. It changes everything.
The whole stress of everything, especially with the hard schedule in April. If we got off to an 18-9 start, like. Yeah.
You got games to play with. You can throw it. You can have a bad series here or there. It's okay. You can weather the storm. It's just you can't do what you did, I think it was last year where
we were like 15 and 17. I think,
and then with the hole just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Let's transition and answer a couple of your questions, folks. If you want to ask us a question, I see a lot of people in the chat. I've been trying to keep track of everything, but the easiest way to do so, there is a link in our description to a mailbag. You submit your question, nice and easy. You put your name there. We will answer it on here. We got a question right here from Unknown. There's actually somebody in the chat named Unknown. The recent thing that they just said is, don't bet, guys. It ruins people's way of living. Only if you bet wrong. That's it. Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. Listen, if you're taking the Blue Jays to win the Grapefruit League, you might end up doing really good. So,
also, like, bet responsibly, because that's the whole thing, right? Like, we're not saying bet irresponsibly. Like, bet responsibly, y'all.
Responsibly. But Unknown also comes out and asks this question right here. Bo and Vlad all of a sudden shaved their
hair. Yeah, head.
And as of now, it's working for them individually. Nick and Adam, Are you willing to buzz if the Jays are below 500 by June, or at least get a really short haircut to turn things around? That's actually insane, man.
I would say no, because I actually know that I have no implications on the game. I don't think I would. It would take a lot. I already shaved my face, and it's taken a while. I couldn't even imagine shaving my head down.
Listen, that's the problem.
I mean,
it's
yours is kind of close.
Well, I could get a real short haircut. Like, I have no problem getting a real short haircut. I mean, we could do that.
Right.
But it's the action of actually buzzing your hair, and especially like. Here's the problem for me. If they're already terrible and then you buzz your
and then nothing changes, I'm gonna be ugly and depressed.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone
it's
has
gonna be
a
like
cut, but
it's
I think
gonna be
ugly.
everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would be much more willing to agree, like, if the Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series, I will buzz my hair.
Yeah.
Thing. You know what
I
mean?
will. I'll do it on the stream.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like a celebrate, like we'll like in celebration. I don't know what we're celebrating, but like
the World Series win.
Yeah, you know, it's like that for me is like, okay, we did it. Like, fuck it, I don't care anymore.
I'd have to be 10 out of 10 drunk.
Well,
you know, like,
I mean, we do it.
I would be already.
So, yeah. Okay, there it is. There it is. Right now, if the Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series in 2025. Yes. We will buzz our hair on live stream. There you are, unknown.
Oh my God, I love it.
Pretty confident that's not gonna happen. But we'll see. You never know, man.
You never know. I mean, dude, I always have dreams about that live stream about winning the World Series.
Oh, just be fucking nuts.
We're live streaming until like 2 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Just. Literally drunk.
We need to get a cameraman of some kind to follow us around the Toronto streets, right? Because like we need to like find a way to stream on the go.
Yeah,
and
like an Aiden Ross thing where he's just like out about like
exactly, you know, like streaming and being with the community out and about, because like you got to see that too, right?
You gotta see it all.
No, I mean that stream would go so hard. You know, you'd have the shaving, and then you'd have the drinking, and then you'd have the streeting.
I feel like that make the news, you know.
It could.
Awesome.
It could. We got a question in here from Gabblechin CH. I don't know. Will Jake Bloss make the team at some point in 2025? Good question. What do you think about Jake Bloss?
I think there is obviously a possibility. I mean, when I look at the depth charts of who would be pitching in the rotation, I think that's kind of where they'd bring him up. They wouldn't probably bring him up to go in the bullpen, probably in the rotation. So you got Yariel right now as your 6th man. And then right now, until Alec Manoah's back, it would be Jake Bloss. Like, it's him. So, you know, if you have an injury or two, boom, Jake Bloss is up. Like, it's that easy. So I could see him coming in. He was up the year prior, right? He was up with the Houston Astros. I don't think he's going to be, you know, serviceable. Maybe I'll eat my words, but like, he'd come up as like a, hey, we need some help, and then you send you back down kind of thing. So, yeah, I'd say he probably.
I think that things would have to go pretty right if he doesn't get called up, because that would most likely mean everyone's performing well, and also we're not dealing with a whole lot of injuries at all. So he's one of the first guys to get a shot should somebody go down, and somebody's going to go down. So for me, it is that simple, and I hope that when he does end up coming, it will be it'll be a nice audition for him, and we can see like what he actually has to offer at the MLB level. Yeah,
because like last year, all we're kind of going off of is that he kind of was bad. So we're trying to like work and finesse him back into some good pitching. So thank you for that question. We got one more in here from Sid. Interesting one. I thought about this. Can you go back in time and regrade the Yusei Kikuchi trade? Has it been enough time for us to regrade?
I don't think it's been enough time. It might have been enough time for the Astros because they've already lost Yusei Kikuchi.
Right.
But for us, I don't know.
It might be. Well, it depends on. I guess we haven't seen. Again, speaking of Jake Bloss, we haven't seen enough of like Jake Bloss, Will Wagner, or Loper Fido. But you know, assuming the Jays didn't or don't sign back Kikuchi, and like we would only have him for the end of last year. I mean, here's the thing: every trade, I kind of look at it as like a grading for each side. Like each side had a grading, and I think the Houston Astros, I mean, they didn't go too far in the playoffs, so maybe that affects their grading. But for us, what was the benefit of having Yusei Kikuchi for 2 months of last year? Like nothing, right? And what we got was pitching depth a potential like DH, third baseman, second base kind of utility guy, Will Wagner, showing a little bit of promise. And then like a fourth or fifth outfielder, like, you know, maybe that grade changes this year when we see what they do. But, you know, I think we graded it like an A, I thought.
Well,
like,
I'll tell you what, like
the
the worst possible case scenario for me, you know, and it's still like a B+, A-, you know, whereas I guess I want to hold off on giving it an exact grade because there's possibility of it being A+++, right? If these guys are actually really good at baseball. But yeah, there's no way to, the only way that you lose this trade is if Jake Bloss comes in and like quite literally blows like several important games for you.
Right.
And then it's like, oh shit, you know? But that, like, I don't think that's going to happen. I hope that that's not going to happen. And I mean, Yusei Kikuchi certainly had his fair share of blown games for us as well. So I don't see any way that you lose this trade ever. It's really only got upside for me. So yeah, I mean A-, A, like something like that. And then if Will Wagner plays well and Jake Bloss is good, like A+, dude.
Yeah, like I'm still at an A right now because again, like we didn't really. I still see it like we didn't lose anything.
Yeah, it basically gave up nothing.
We didn't lose anything because we were probably going to lose Kikuchi anyways. Yep. You know, because we had our eyes set on Max Scherzer, and that's why we didn't even offer him a contract. Yusei Kikuchi. So it's like, all right, well, we're winners. We just got more depth in our system, more prospects, and we didn't have that before. So hey. A for me.
Yeah. W's in the chat for Yusei Kikuchi for bringing that over, everybody.
Go.
That is where we're going to call it for this one. If you enjoyed this live stream, please make sure to hit the like button on your way out. And of course, guys, I'm telling you, March 27th is the day. The link to sign up to get your ticket, it's free, by the way. Free entrance. It's just literally to make sure that you have a spot is in the description right there. Do it now, everybody.
And guys, there's also going to be free food samples, free beer samples for those over 19, and there's going to be
lots of giveaways.
$50 gift cards for Amsterdam giveays, and maybe some tickets and merchandise. We're getting some merchandise, so guys, you definitely want to be there. You're going to leave with more things than you came in with. So yes, be there.
Exactly, folks. Thanks so much for watching, and as always,
go Jays, go!